practical is going to be about downloading and installing the AllSafe app. So first open your browser and then just move to AllSafe GitHub. You can search it on Google as well. Click on the first link. Now you can see that there is a bunch of stuff regarding the information about the application as well, and if you can see, there are a bit of spoilers like what all vulnerabilities are actually present in the APK itself. So you can just have a look if you want to, and then just move to the releases section and then select the AllSafe APK file. As you can see, your APK file is being downloaded in your browser. And we'll move on to the next steps of actually installing it on your device and configuring it. By this time you have already downloaded the APK file, so first thing that we are going to do is make sure that there is a connection between the Android debug bridge, which you are using on our Kali machine, and the device that you are using. So we can, as you can see, that we have successfully connected to the device. This is the first step of actually using ADB because we can do a number of things using that. Next, move on to the downloads folder. And what we are going to do is basically use the command adb install space the APK file name which we have got, that is allsafe.apk, and this is going to basically install the application on your device. So it will take quite a bit of time, but just be patient. As you can see that we have got the output as success and the application is successfully installed. You can have a check on your mobile device as well if it's installed or not. Okay, so by this time you have installed AllSafe APK file on your device. As you can see, it's present there, but now I'm going to actually drag it down to my home screen because I want it to be much easier for further demonstration purposes. So let's do that and open the APK file. As you can see, as discussed earlier as well, that AllSafe is actually a vulnerable application that it's going to make us ready for real world applications pen testing as well. So move on to the 3 lines icon, also the menu, and you can see that there's a number of vulnerabilities that are being displayed in front of you. Okay, so the first vulnerability is going to be about insecure logging. So what we are going to do is we are going to just fire up a Kali terminal, and then we are going to enter the command adb shell. Now what adb shell actually does is you are now inside the device. So in order, and we can open our AllSafe app as well, move to the insecure logging vulnerability, and what you have to do is actually now write a simple command, that's logcat. And what logcat will do is actually, I will just brief you out, one sec. Logcat, yes. And if I press enter now, you can see that there are a number of files that are being, number of data that has been displayed in front of you. So these are actually the device's logs. So what we are going to do is we move to our APK file and we enter the supertext. Now if we enter supertext, you can see on your left side, as soon as we enter the text in the application, you could see that the text was actually being displayed in the logs. So that really should have not been the case, because in this case we are actually using a normal plain text, but it could be your credit card number, or it could be actually someone's username or passwords. So if you try to relate it to the real world applications, a lot of times if the application is vulnerable to insecure logging, your data and username and password is visible in clear text in the device's log. So that's it for insecure logging. So the next vulnerability that we are going to talk about is hard-coded credentials. Now in hard-coded credentials, what you guys are actually going to do is first click on the initiate login request. There is a bit of description you can read. So again, it's more about related to reverse engineering. So we are really not going to do anything with the application, but actually the source code. So click on initiate login request once. As you can see that you have got an under development message. Let's fire up a Kali terminal and enter JADX GUI. So in order to read a source code of an Android application, you have to use JADX GUI. It's going to make things very much easier for you and also provide you a basic GUI interface, which is convenient to traverse through. So click on open file and you will select the downloaded APK file, which we did at the starting of the video. It will take some time to load. And there you have it. There is the source code of the application in front of you. So move to infosecadventures.allsafe folder, and then you can go to challenges. You can see a number of challenges being presented in front of you. So click on hard-coded credentials because that is the one that we are really solving. So what you could do is actually, this is a quick tip for you guys. You can search for the string username and you can check if you have got something sensitive right now. So you can see that there's a username token displayed in front of me, and if I actually go to the right side, I can see that there is the super admin name, which tends or looks as if it's the username. I'm pretty sure it's the username now in this case. And the next you can see that there's a password text. So this is actually like the developer storing credentials. I'm relating it to the real world scenarios. So developers might be just storing it in the backend. Sorry, in the source code of the application. So there you can see that there you have your username and also your password. So what we are going to do is we're going to use it. So this was one technique where we actually got the first pair of credentials. So next, in order to actually find the other pair of credentials which the challenge is asking us to do, you can move to the resources.arsc and then navigate to the res folder. So the res folder actually has a lot of files that is called strings.xml. So you have to navigate to that and just scroll down and try to understand each and every data, or to see if there's actually something sensitive. Trust me, a lot of times you might not get it in the source code, the normal ones, but of the application, but there are really a high chances of you getting something sensitive in strings.xml file. So if you search for the string dev, you can see that you have got the admin and the password of the dev again. So that's it. This is the hard-coded credentials vulnerability, and we'll move on to the next one. Next, we move on to the next vulnerability, that is Firebase database. And as you can see that the application actually getting data from a real-time database. So it's all nice and good, but I have a feeling that the developers didn't set the correct rules for production. So what I'm guessing is there must be a database that is being used by this application, but it must be publicly accessible. So in order to do that, we'll first click query database. Then we'll move on to a Kali terminal. We open Jadex GUI. Again, this is something that was related to reverse engineering. We are going to, and I also gave a point saying that the strings.xml file is very much important. So you can always get something sensitive over there. So you can move to that folder again, which we did previously. That is the res folder, and in the res folder go to values and then strings.xml. Now if you actually scroll down and search for Firebase, you can see that there is a URL. Now what we are going to do is we are actually going to check if this URL is accessible to us or not. If we copy it and open it in a browser, press enter. Also make sure that you give /.json, and you can see that is actually publicly accessible, and we also get the flag that had been set by the application. So this was it for Firebase database vulnerability. We move on to the next vulnerability, that is insecure shared preferences. So if you read the description, you can see that shared preferences by default are stored within the application's data directory within the file's permissions. So all of these clues are actually given in the application, but to summarize this, it's basically like there are times where applications store sensitive data in their shared preferences folder. So in order to do this will be more clear when we actually fire up the Kali terminal and we do adb shell. But first, let's try to understand exactly about what code is being implemented. So again, we move to JADX GUI, open the APK file, and we move on to the insecure.shared preferences. We go to challenges and we move on to insecure share preferences file. In this file, you can actually check for the code. Next, if you can scroll down, you can see that there is a code that is being displayed in front of you. But if you check the else statements, you can see that it is actually being stored in the shared preferences folder. So, and also it's getting the text in plain text. There's no kind of encryption that is being used in order for the username and the password that the user supplies in our AllSafe application. So if I enter the username now as test user and the password, the application prompts me to enter the password again. And if I click on register now, oh, the password really did not match. So I'm just going to edit it once again. The username is test user and the password is password1. And I'm just going to hit register again. So you can see that we have got a message saying that we have successfully registered. Now click on OK, and now is the part where we actually traverse to the shared preferences folder inside the device. So first of all, I'm going to run the command that is adb devices, just to check if my adb is connected to our device successfully. As you can see, it is successfully connected. Using the adb shell command, I'm going to actually go inside the directory. So the first one is actually change the directory to data/data followed by the package name, which is infosecadventures.allsafe. This was also visible in the JADX GUI, and we navigate to the shared preferences folder. If you click on ls, you can see that there is a user.xml file being displayed. Let's open the file by using the cat command. Let's open the file using the cat command, and you can see that there's your username and the password. So again, as we saw it you did see it in the source code, but again, if you can check when we entered a username as test user and the password, it was actually displayed as plain text inside the application. So this was it for insecure shared preference vulnerability.